What's up, everybody? Pastor Payne here, bringing an action figure review for the first time in a very long time. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I was diagnosed with leukemia in January of 2023, so I haven't really been having a chance to do any reviews. I decided this was a good one to start with if I'm going to do these videos again. These are customs of my favorite movie trilogy, which is Unbreakable, Split, and Glass by M. Night Shyamalan, who in my opinion is a genius level storyteller. I'm not at home currently. I'm in a motel all by myself. I'm currently going through what's called a CAR T cell transplant to hopefully cure my leukemia, so hopefully it goes well, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm going to show these figures off because I think out of all the customs I've ever made or had any help making, these are probably my favorites. You have to excuse my voice, it's going out a little bit. I'm going through chemo right now, so I'm not feeling the greatest. I'm going to start with the Beast here. Now, if you've ever seen the movies, you know that the Beast was one of Kevin Wendell Crumb's alternate identities. In fact, he was the final identity, the final boss identity, if you want to look at it that way. It was brilliantly played by James McAvoy. And this is the head sculpt. Now, the head sculpt for the Beast, for Mr. Glass, and this entire figure of the Glass version of the Overseer were done by a user named Just a Jobber on Instagram. And Dan, I'm sorry if I'm giving your information out unwarranted. I hope this doesn't cause you to have a lot of traffic in your inbox, but all this stuff looks so good, especially this head sculpt. I'm going to actually just pop it off. It's held on with tack mostly, so we can get a clear shot of it. And let me adjust this lamp real quick. It's just this head sculpt looks so good. He did such a great job painting it. He 3D prints and paints these head sculpts himself. And they look phenomenal. They make the figure what it is. Now, I opted to put this figure on I want to say this is a V-Toys body. I'm probably going to redo it because I don't really like the way the veins turned out, if you can even see that well on camera. On the arms, it turned out fine. They even look pretty cool on the back, but the front, I think I want to redo. I couldn't find any yellow pants for a 1/12 scale action figure. I'll move this back a little bit. Give me 1 second. This isn't giving me there we go. That's better. All right. He's still a little tall for the picture, but I had to get, I think they were khaki colored pants, and I painted them yellow with acrylic Vallejo paint, and it worked pretty well because it gave him that dingy, worn look that I wanted. And the articulation's all there. He didn't lose any in the customization process, sorry. But he just looks really good, and I'm glad I chose to go with this particular body. I think it works really well for the Beast personality. I do want to make other personalities from Kevin Wendell Crumb in that trilogy. I want to make specifically Hedwig and Patricia and Dennis, since those are like the three mains. And I may make Barry. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. The next one I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get this one out the way. Because of the way the poncho on this one was printed, he's basically a statue. He doesn't really move, but if you look at it, this is the Glass version of the Overseer. This is Bruce Willis with the white stubble, mustache and beard and all that, but he looks really good. And he paints and if you pay attention in the movie Glass, the poncho, the cloak was a lot darker than it was in Unbreakable. It was more like a military green. That's how it looked to me anyway, but he did this perfectly. And like I said, mainly just a statue. It's on a Marvel Legends body. I think it's Agent Woo or something, whatever that guy's name is the body he has it on. So not much going on there, but it looks really good standing on a shelf. Since there are technically two versions of the Overseer, I wanted both versions. The next thing I'm going to go to is the Overseer. And I originally had a Bruce Willis head sculpt with the hat from Just a Jobber, the same guy that did all these back here. And shortly after I got that from him, I came across this head sculpt from a user online called Fig Collects, FIGCOLEX, and it looked so realistic I couldn't pass it up. This head sculpt is phenomenal. I've gotten head sculpts from Fig Collects years ago. He did my custom Dirty Harry, if you ever saw that video, but I used an Elite John Cena hat and just painted it that dingy, dirty red that it was, like, that really used up red that it was in Unbreakable. So I can have his hood down and he still looks really good. But being I'm a fan of the Overseer character, I always like to have the hood up. And this cloak or poncho, whatever you want to call it, it was made by Matsucons, Motsucons on Instagram. I don't know that his account is still active. This cloak was made years ago. I've made multiple versions of this figure and I'm finally satisfied. And my hood's not sitting quite right now. There you go. But I've got it on just a suited Marvel Legends body because it doesn't really matter what kind of body you got it on. You can't see it. And I got the boots from the current, what's his name? It's Talos, I think is his name, from Marvel Legends. I just painted them, put those on him. Works really well. One of my absolute favorite figures. And I've got the Matsucons. He printed the FSU logo there and security on the back, so that just is the icing on the cake. Now, the next one I want to show, if I can get Overseer to stand like he's supposed to. There we go. The last one I'm going to show, obviously, if he'll stand, there we go, is Mr. Glass. This is one of my favorite ones. I think Mr. Glass is one of the greatest villains in cinematic history. And when Just a Jobber sent me this figure, he had painted the hobo Nick Fury coat purple, but there was, I wanted to be able to sit in a wheelchair, and I do have the wheelchair right here. So I opted to get this this perfectly shaded purple trench coat from GP Slot. And that way I can have him stand with his glass cane, which was a great addition. Thanks to Just a Jobber for even throwing that in. That was great. But this is a phenomenal head sculpt. It's wonderfully painted. It looks professional. It's one of the best I've ever seen a customizer do. Now, like I said, he's on a hobo Nick Fury body with a GP Slot coat on. Now, if you want him in the wheelchair, because that is one of Mr. Glass's iconic looks, is the wheelchair. In fact, when I think of Mr. Glass, I think of him in the wheelchair. Horrible as that sounds. We can put him in the wheelchair. You can display him or take pictures either way. And there you go. You can have any version of Mr. Glass you want. And looks perfect. Looks great. That's one of my favorite sets. One of my favorite figures right here, honestly. He looks great. I was worried I'd never get him right. And like I said, this is the glass cane. I'm guessing he 3D printed this just with clear, epoxy they use on 3D printers. And if you're wondering what all this stuff in the background is, it's just comparisons to height. Just some of my favorite figures in my collection. Actually, this is all my favorite figures in my collection. Like, as far as my top tier favorites, the only one missing is my recent Syndicate Collectibles Pumpkinhead. He was too big and possibly too fragile, I'm not sure, to pack in my luggage. But here is the Bullet Head V for Vendetta V-Mask figure. It's a third party. This is way better than the newer version that came out, in my opinion. I'm sure you've seen reviews for all of these 100 times over on YouTube. They're not nothing new, but this is the Mezco Crow, the Muff Toys Top Agent Daniel Craig James Bond, the Aton Customs Robert Pattinson Bruce Wayne, my custom painted Mezco the Batman. I don't know if the camera's going to pick up on the customization or not, but I weathered his outfit and everything uh, based on how he actually looked in the movie. And then my Mezco Toys 2019 Hellboy. And just for a second, I'm going to boast about a couple of these because I think this right here is one of my absolute favorite figures. I've wanted an action figure from Casino Royale since it came out in 2007 or 8 or something like that. So this was a dream come true, and I opted for the special edition that comes with the watch. That head sculpt's amazing. But that's not what we're talking about in this video, but did want to show those. Those are basically comparisons. They're some of my favorites in my collection, and since I had room to display them for this video, I chose to do that. But what do you guys think? Do you think these Unbreakable and glass action figures are nice? Like, is this something you would want for your collection? What did you think of that trilogy? If you saw it, let me know. Hopefully I can do more videos before all this is over, and thank you guys for watching, and as always, peace out.